Hi, everyone. You're speaking to Edna from Horological Atelier. I'm the founder and the designer for Time Vault and our watch lines, Clevio and Bovaro watches. Today, I am welcoming Bettina Fröhlich. I'm saying her last name wrong. Bettina is a long-time journalist in the watch space and luxury space. Welcome, Bettina. Please do introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, everybody. So my name is, as you told, Bettina Fröhlich. And I pronounce it in English, but my name, the signification of my name is happy. So it's quite interesting. And that's the reason why also for example, my Instagram account is called Madame Happy Hour. So because it's Madame Fröhlich and about time.
Oh, fantastic. That's actually really fantastic. I did not know that's what that meant, but it's always good to learn something new. So I have not met Bettina in real life yet, but I met her over the past couple of months, talking about watch in the luxury space, and she has quite a lot of insights. So today I have quite a few questions for Bettina that we're going to be asking, and she'll be sharing us, some of her interesting pieces of information. But before we get into the question and answer session, Bettina has lovely art on her wall. And I know I've already asked this, but for the rest of you guys at home, I think it'll be interesting to know a little bit about the two pieces of art behind her.
Yeah, I have it in my office because I love it. It's an Italian artist called Mario Maretti. And it's really inspiring for me to have it in my office. So at the other wall, I have a range of yellow pictures all around. And on this side, it's more blue. It's when I really need a little bit more to be more relaxed, then I will have a look on this wall. So
Well, it's a good thing that today I decided to wear a blue dress, and I actually decided to wear two of our blue watches from Bovaro. So the midnight abyss and the lighter blue version of the watch. And I know it's a bit strange to double fist your watches, but I think people should start wearing all their watches as much as possible. But getting
it's
into the
lovely.
thank you. So
It's
getting
really
in.
lovely. What a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll start with the first question, Bettina. You've been in the industry for the past 25 years, and you obviously guide women in talking to them about watches, investments, and watching, and understanding a lot more about that. Please tell us a little bit more about your motivation for that work in that space.
Look, when I started my career in 2001, I noticed a persistent gap. The narrative was almost exclusively male centric. And so, yes, women were often treated like fashion buyers or rather than asset collectors or people who understand what a watch really is about. So my motivation was to change that a little bit. I wanted to empower also women with the same technical knowledge and market insights, usually reserved for men. But this is not all. I want to also give them more confidence to understand and to learn because very often they do not know all the technical stuff, and when they come into a shop, they're not well treated. They very often people ask them, "Are you're buying a watch for your husband?" and things like that. So
Yeah.
so yeah, that's why I want really that they understand and they will with time really love what's inside all that. Remember, the first world first wristwatch was
Yeah.
a Breguet Reine de Naples, and so it was really a great history at this period. It was in 1810, where Caroline Murat the Queen of Naples and the sister of Napoleon Bonaparte, commissioned Abraham Louis Breguet to create this amazing watch. At this period, men preferred pocket watches. So yeah, there is a lot of also huge huge things in history of watches, and not so many people are knowing about it. So this is also a little bit what I would like to talk about.
Yeah, fantastic. And I really like the fact that you mentioned that women not being marketed watches towards like as an investment and from the technical elements of it, which just segues us right into the next question we have is like, we in your newsletter, you talk about watches and investments. I will butcher the French language if I try to pronounce your newsletter in French, which is investier. Jazz.
Yeah, don't worry, don't worry. I do it in on LinkedIn in French because I remembered that very often also people are not aware with English,
Mhm.
and I speak more languages, so I have the advantage that I could do also things in other languages. I'm bilingual in French. I'm from the origin German, so I speak German, English a little bit, and Italian. So yeah, that's quite nice. So I could really speak with all the people, and especially in Switzerland, it's always helpful to speak for Switzerland languages.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I have to say that as much as I love being in Switzerland, in Zurich specifically, Swiss German is quite a very difficult language to learn. I have not had the experience of learning or speaking Swiss Italian, but I'm assuming it's not that different from speaking, like standard Italian, which I understand a little bit. In French, I can understand. Speaking it is another story, but I always get to learn that. So tell us a little bit more about the idea around women thinking of watches as investment. Is this something women should invest in when they're thinking about watches? And what would you want somebody who's, thinking of investing in a watch? What is a piece of advice you'd give them?
I said why I started this newsletter was another idea. It was not at the beginning. I don't said to myself, okay, I have to do a newsletter around watches.
Yeah.
First of all, I said to myself, my God, there are so many women who are investing in a Kelly or in a Birkin or in other high luxury brand bags. And I said to myself, that's amazing. So they are putting a lot of money into it, and very often they do not care about watches. And so this was the first idea. And then I said to myself, okay, but perhaps it's also they do not know enough and they are more comfortable with bags. So that's perhaps the idea. So in this small newsletter, and I do also sometimes master classes around to make them known, or to help them to understand which kind of watches could be interesting to invest. Because
Mhm.
I make you an example. For example, very often people are thinking, because the first the first watch brand who is known from everybody, I will say, is Rolex.
Mhm.
So and very often people say, okay, I will buy me a Rolex. So first of all, it's really complicated to have today a Rolex, because you, first of all, if you are not client over so you you can't buy the watch you want. They have to put you on the wish list and things like that. So it's a little bit like with bags and things like that. So it's the same story.
Mhm.
But when people later on they bought a Rolex, it's not obvious that this Rolex will be a good investment, because very often um, it's not the Rolex people really want or desiring. So and then there are pieces that are not so easy to resell, and so on. And so that was a little bit the reason why I said to myself, okay, I have really to talk about watches who could be an investment. So
Okay.
that's the reason why I started this newsletter, and also sometimes to give to say to people, okay, perhaps your first watch, when you want
Mhm.
a special watch, it would be better if you have a look on the second on the secondary market or things like that, on the vintage market, or anyway you. So it was a little bit this idea around this the small newsletter, which is a small one, and it's not only what I'm doing. So I'm not only specialized in this field. It's more to give them details that they are not stupid, or if they could also talk with other people and say, okay, I know it all, or also, it's not only you.
Yeah, which is fantastic. I mean, we definitely need different kinds of people from all walks of life and from all backgrounds, giving a lot more information about watches, understanding them, the design, the movement, and the mechanics, and so on, which is quite important as a conversation for me. I know that I do have some hot takes at times when it comes to general marketing of watches. Like the last thing I want is to just be marketed a watch just because it's pink or it's got diamonds. But I also want to know what movement is in the watch, and I'm pretty sure there are quite a lot of women who also want all the bells and whistles that comes with a luxury watch and a technical watch. You did mention earlier on about going to the secondary market, the gray market, which is obviously a very large space for people to buy, sell, and interact with watches, and specifically for brands that people have to wait for on the waiting list. Now, there's obviously the issue of provenance. So that is like, how authentic is that watch, documentation, and so on. Tell us a little bit more what you think when it comes to how people can ensure that they have an authentic watch or they have the original papers. What can people do? What have you experienced in your conversations over the years with engaging with the market?
Look, I'm not a 100% a pre-owned market specialist, but what I see and what is really important if people are going to this market, they have to make sure the provenance, as you said. So they have to be there has to be the original box and the papers. This is really really helpful, and this is, I will say, this is not only helpful, it's a must. And they also have to check if there is a detailed service history from authorized centers,
Mhm.
and certificate of authenticity. This is for me the three things that there are really need to have, because otherwise there are so many things going on and happen all over.
Yeah.
So this is for me really the must to check before you buy something on the
Yeah.
pre-owned market.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
also to check if the dealers are known. I never say to people, buy something on I don't know, on from a buyer you don't know who is coming from. No.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. Um, so in that, so part of my business is that we're building a digital product passport, which allows us to record from materials. So we're looking to work with brands, so that we understand where they source their materials. We don't want to understand, like their business dealings, no, but to know that their materials are ethically sourced, and then we know that the watch has been built. We don't want to know how they built their watch, but to say that they have now say that this watch is authentic and it's ready for sale. So we have the digital passport for the watch, and then when it's handed over to the customer, and then we follow that watch from customer to customer or from service to service. Do you think this is something that possibly, as a concept, could be important for the watch industry, or rather even for customers, to understand the full life cycle, not only from a sell point going forward, but from the sustainability going backwards, considering Europe right now has already put through the law for digital product passports. So if it's already touching other like assets, I believe that watches are next.
I think absolutely. Transparency is for me one of the most important things. And when a woman or somebody who wants to buy a watch and they have the traceability from where are the stones or from where are all the details are, this is so helpful. And it makes also, it's more serious. It makes you serious to give them the opportunity to have all this in kind of information today. I think it's totally important and necessary as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we know that currently different kinds of brands are, working with blockchain products, with QR codes, NFTs, and so on. Do you think there is a need for having a brand agnostic platform that allows registration, especially of watches that are, in the second-hand market? Because we understand if it's a new watch, the brand could potentially just handle its own business from that, creating that full life cycle. But for watches in the second-hand market, do you think that there is really good need to have that sort of offering or a product that can provide a authentication certificate? Obviously, they have to work with different kinds of partners to ensure that the piece is authentic.
Yeah, I think it's always a good point. So from my point of view, yes, but I'm not a decision maker at a brand or something like that. So I'm not perhaps the best person to talk about, but for sure, I think it's necessary.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when it comes to brands, they can decide who they work with and how they work around. For me, the idea around, obviously, because I am the founder and the owner of Timefold, which is an agnostic platform for digital product passports. When watches are often in the, in the gray market, it's even though you know what brand it is from, what people do with that product after it's been purchased, it's almost solely up to the owner of that asset, which is why we're trying to say to customers and to collectors, we're here to support you. We want to be able to also help protect the secondary market where we know you're buying and selling items. But definitely a very large conversation to be had with the brands, with the collectors themselves. We've also partners with insurance, and we're looking to partner with more service partners so that when people bring in their assets, we're able to say, okay, let's ensure that your watch is authentic, it's registered. So if you needed to sell it, all the information is there within a click of a button. You're able to actually sell it better. But moving on from sort of like that sort of like provenance area, if you were to give me or anyone a piece of advice, let's say I'm very new to the watch collecting or to the watch space, um, what would be the one piece of advice you would give me when it comes to I'm thinking of buying a new watch? Um, what would you want me to know?
Would say buy for the soul, but verify for the what. For sure. But first of all, we are buying something, a great object, because we love it, and we have this kind of emotions and all that, and this has to be the most important thing. And then on the second part, for sure, from my point of view, it's really important as well to have a look on it. Because if you're investing, because when we are talking about watches, we are not talking about 200 euros.
Mhm.
So when we are talking about luxury watches, so it starts, entry prices are around, we will say 5,000 euros and up to that. And then we have very often 10, 20, 50, 100, 250, and so on.
Yeah.
And with this kind of amounts, you have really to think also a little bit on what you're buying and why you're buying it, and what you want to do with it. But for your first watch at all, it's about which one do you like, and what it which kind of emotion do you have when you have it. It's the same as you have a bag, a luxury
Yeah.
bag who you love and things like that. So I think this is really, really important. And also because for me in the watch making area, what I love is that a watch is really what will remain relevant for generations, you know. So you
Mm.
could put it to your children, to your grandchildren, and so on. And sometimes I'm giving classes in a gemology school,
Yeah.
and they are very often talking to me. Their grandparents gave them a watch or things like that, so they're really proud of that and things like that. So we have always a look on what a kind of watch, and there are really amazing stories also, and this is what I really love in the watchmaking field. So telling stories, finding watches that perhaps that are not anymore on the market, and see amazing pieces that you have never seen before.
Yeah.
So this is what I really love, and what I love, what I also what I'm talking about to people.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, that's really good. It's been such a pleasure having a discussion with you, and we hope that for your next session, we'll be able to, like, your masterclass, we'll be able to share that link with people and say, Bettina is having a masterclass. Please join. But it was such a pleasure speaking to you, and I hope to speak to you again.
I hope so too. And I really want also to know a little bit more by time what. So if you could make me sometimes, perhaps not today,
Yep.
but another time you give me a presentation that I could have a look on it. That will be really with pleasure.
Yeah,
That
no,
I could
definitely.
give
I
you
would.
feedback.
Yes, I that feedback is always good. That's exactly what we're waiting for. So I would have a demo with you, and you can see what the platform looks like from the end user side, and the sort of like the information that we track in the register. I think the product is cool, but I am biased. But I'm also more than the word open to to show people more of the product, how it works.
Lovely. Thanks a lot. And